Truck driver Jake was navigating a snowy highway when he spotted a young girl lying unconscious by the roadside. Immediately halting, he rushed to her aid, finding her fainted in the cold. He called 911 and wrapped her in a blanket, anxiously waiting for help. When the paramedics arrived and checked her ID, Jake's concern deepened. He quickly dialed the police, his heart racing with the realization of who she might be. But before we start our story, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. Jake, a seasoned truck driver, gripped the wheel tightly as his rig rolled down a desolate, snowy highway late at night. The snowflakes were dancing against his windshield. He had driven these roads many times before, but tonight felt different. He noticed a figure lying by the side of the road and immediately pulled over to investigate. Jake's heart pounded as he stepped out of his truck and trudged through the snow. As he approached, he saw a young girl, unconscious and huddled in a dark coat and black tights. Jake knelt beside her, his mind racing, wondering how she had ended up alone on this freezing, desolate road. He gently shook her shoulder, but she didn't respond. He quickly called 911, informed them of the situation, and waited with the girl, trying to keep her warm with a blanket from his truck. Suddenly, the girl stirred. Her eyes fluttered open in confusion. Jake tried to reassure her, though his own voice betrayed his concern. Finally, the ambulance arrived. Paramedics took over, placing her on a stretcher. A paramedic handed Jake a small bag found near her. Inside was a worn wallet. Jake hesitated before opening it. It felt intrusive but necessary. He found an ID. Emily Parker, 19. The name seemed familiar, though he couldn't place it. She matched the description he'd given 911, studied her pale face. Had she been reported missing? What had brought her to this point? A paramedic informed Jake she would be taken to the nearest hospital. He nodded, determined to ensure she got proper care. He couldn't just walk away after finding her. Before they left, Jake noted the address on her ID, an affluent suburb with low crime rates. It deepened the mystery. Why was a girl from such a stable background in this state, alone in the cold? Jake returned to his truck, the night no longer routine. Questions filled the air. Who was she running from? What had she endured? He couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. Even after the ambulance departed, Jake's thoughts circled back to Emily. He felt an odd responsibility. Would she be safe now? Would she ever tell her story? Though he was a long-haul trucker with a schedule to keep, Jake chose to detour. He had to know more. The night had turned from ordinary to extraordinary. Jake arrived at the hospital, parked, and made his way to the emergency room. A nurse directed him to where Emily lay, unconscious but stable, under warm blankets. In the waiting area, he overheard police speaking in low tones. No significant injuries, just a bruise, looked stable. But nothing offered real answers. Jake watched, listened, and waited, hoping that soon the mystery of Emily Parker would begin to unravel. A nurse approached Jake to update him on Emily's condition. "She has no significant injuries apart from the bruise on her temple," she said. "Her vitals are stable, but we'll keep her under observation for a while." Jake nodded, still puzzled. The lack of injuries made her situation even stranger. What could have caused her to collapse by the roadside in such a state? As Jake sat in the hospital lobby, his sense of duty grew. He couldn't just leave without knowing more. The mystery gnawed at him. He called his wife, Jennifer, a retired social worker, hoping for guidance. After explaining everything, she listened carefully and offered advice. "Let the police do their job, but keep an eye on her. If there's more to this, be patient," Jake agreed, though restlessness simmered under his concern. Back inside, Officer Daniel approached. "You're the one who found her?" he asked. Jake confirmed and described the snowy highway, her unconscious state, and the call to 911. Daniel took notes, his tone calm but focused. Jake emphasized the bruise, her confusion, and how off the whole thing felt. The officer nodded. "We're exploring several possibilities. It's possible she's involved in something we don't fully understand yet." The vague response only deepened Jake's concern. Alone again, Jake replayed the events in his mind. Emily's background didn't fit the situation. He felt compelled to protect her. That sense of duty pushed him toward her address, the one on her ID. He couldn't go back to his routine without knowing more. The neighborhood was lively, but Emily's house was oddly quiet. The contrast unsettled him. The front door stood slightly ajar. Jake hesitated, then entered. Inside, signs of a struggle were everywhere. Broken glass, scattered papers, overturned furniture. Something terrible had happened here. He moved cautiously, taking in the scene, sensing someone had been searching for something. Then he heard movement upstairs. His heart pounded as he crept up the stairs. Each creak echoed like a warning. At the top, he paused. Light spilled from a room at the end of the hall. Voices murmured from within. He edged closer, catching fragmented phrases. The tension in the air was sharp. Peeking through the doorway, Jake saw two men rifling through drawers, their actions frantic. He froze. Confronting them could be dangerous, but leaving without any action might put Emily in more danger. He studied their faces, memorizing details, then quietly backed away and slipped down the hall, heart racing. Jake stepped back quietly and called Officer Daniel. "Two men are searching through Emily's house," he whispered. "It looks like they're after something." The urgency in his voice was clear. "Get out of there," Daniel instructed. "We're sending backup." Jake retreated and hid behind a large bush in the front yard, heart pounding, praying he hadn't been seen. The cold stung his skin, but all he could think about was staying hidden. Minutes crawled by. Police cars soon arrived, lights flashing, shattering the quiet neighborhood. Jake watched as officers rushed into the house, weapons drawn. Commands rang out, sharp and swift. From his hiding spot, Jake heard shouting, radios crackling, and finally the sound of handcuffs. He saw the police leading two men outside. One of them, a tall man with a scruffy beard, looked familiar. Jake had seen him at a truck stop before. The connection unsettled him. Officer Daniel approached. "They're in custody," he said. "We'll be interrogating them soon." Jake nodded, relieved but uneasy. Daniel added, "Emily's family is out of town. She was home alone." That explained the empty house and her vulnerability. He suggested Emily may have stumbled onto something the intruders wanted. "We think she discovered something she shouldn't have," Daniel said. Jake's mind raced. What could a suburban girl possibly know that would attract criminals? Jake felt a strong connection to her, like he had a purpose in helping her. He wasn't going to walk away from this. What could she possibly know? He asked aloud. At the hospital, Emily suddenly awoke in a panic. When she saw Jake, she calmed slightly. "It's okay," he reassured her gently. She looked around, breathing slower. Her voice trembled as she said, "I remember someone in the house. They were looking for something." Her memory was patchy, and she rubbed her temples in frustration. Jake listened closely, fitting her words into the puzzle forming in his mind. Later, Jake learned Emily had received threatening messages days before. She had decided to confront the sender, leading to her collapse by the roadside. "I thought I could handle it," she admitted through tears. Jake held her hand, offering comfort. Officer Daniel returned with news. The men were tied to a local crime syndicate. "They're dangerous," he said. Jake and Emily exchanged worried looks. "This is bigger than we thought." Emily shuddered, realizing how close she'd come to tragedy. "I could have been," she whispered. Jake gently interrupted, "But you weren't. Let's focus on what's next." She nodded, steadied by his presence. "We're getting there," Jake said, offering a reassuring smile. Emily, wrapped in a blanket, gave a small nod. "Thanks for staying," she said. "I couldn't leave you to face this alone," Jake replied. As they sat together, Emily's memory slowly returned. "There's something in my dad's study," she said. "I think it's what they're after. Some kind of legal documents." She described a hidden compartment behind a panel in the desk. "My dad mentioned it once. I never thought it was important." Jake leaned in. "We need to get those documents," he said. Officer Daniel was already preparing to act. The officers raced to Emily's house, determined to retrieve the documents before the criminals made another attempt. Jake stayed behind with Emily. "They'll get it done," he assured her. Emily took a deep breath, the weight of the situation settling in. The hidden documents might be the key to unraveling everything. At her house, officers uncovered a cache of evidence: fake bank statements, transaction logs, enough to expose a trafficking ring. Officer Daniel called Jake. "We've got the evidence," he reported. Jake felt a wave of relief. That's great news. They were finally turning the tide. For her safety, Emily was placed under protective custody. Though uneasy about constant surveillance, she found comfort in not being alone. "You'll be safe now," Officer Daniel reassured her. Jake stayed by her side, offering quiet strength. With Emily protected, Jake returned to his truck. "Take care, Emily," he said, hugging her gently. "Stay in touch." She smiled gratefully. "Thank you, Jake, for everything." With one last look, he climbed into his truck. The road ahead seemed less lonely. Before leaving, Jake noticed a missed call from Officer Daniel. Uneasy, he called back. "We ran a check," Daniel said. "Her ID is fake. Emily Parker doesn't exist." Jake's heart skipped. Who had he been helping? Daniel continued. "Her real name is Samantha Reed. She's tied to a high-profile missing person case. Her family is involved in witness protection." Jake remembered the name. Samantha's disappearance had been a big story. Realizing the danger she had been in made everything click. The bruises, the fear, the secrecy. It all made sense now. She wasn't just any girl. She was a key witness, hunted by people who wanted her silenced. Though stunned, Jake felt validated. His instincts had been right. He hadn't just saved a stranger, he'd helped someone crucial to a major criminal investigation. The truth added depth to her story, exposing the real danger she'd faced. Jake was awed by her strength and how fate had led their paths to cross. It no longer felt like coincidence, it felt like purpose. Grateful for his decision to stop that night, Jake checked over his truck. One small choice had changed everything. His heart swelled with meaning and quiet pride. He reflected on the night's events, the frozen highway, the unconscious girl, the hidden danger. It all felt surreal now, but it had mattered, deeply. Jake had made a real difference. As he drove, his thoughts lingered on Samantha. He hoped she'd find safety and peace, and that the authorities would keep her protected. Knowing she was no longer alone brought some comfort. The snowy road stretched out ahead, but Jake carried something new with him, an unshakable resolve to stay alert and kind in a world that often needed quiet heroes. Glancing in the rearview mirror, he let the memories drift into the distance. With a deep breath, he turned his focus forward, ready for whatever lay ahead.